WZDX presents an extra look at the hottest action from the world of sports. This is WZDX Sports Xtra with Mo Carter, Charity Chambers, and Kayla Carlisle.
Thank you once again for joining us on WZDX Sports Xtra, the only 30-minute show in the Tennessee Valley that's dedicated entirely to sports. I'm Mo Carter, and this is Charity Chambers.
Yeah, Mo, this week you and Kayla made that trip down to Montgomery for the baseball and softball state championships. I know you all had a lot of fun down there, but I think it's fair to say tonight's show is going to be jam-packed with those highlights and, of course, more what we have on tap, those championship games, as well as how UAH, Auburn, Alabama, and Jacksonville State fared in the NCAA softball tournaments.
For this week's Sunday sit-down, the Hazel Green baseball team is in the house, and we also have a look at Alabama A&M men's basketball coach, who is an interim, so we will hear from him very shortly. But first, let's get to this. Underdog, unexperienced, and undeserving. Those were some of the words others described when referring to the Hazel Green baseball team. Well, the squad used those words as motivation and eventually found themselves in Montgomery playing for the Class 6A state championship against Helena, the defending state champs. Now, the Trojans and Huskies went to a winner-take-all decisive Game 3, so we will pick things up early on in this one as Hazel Green will get on the board, and RBI by Jordan Beck brings in his man that puts the Trojans up 1-0. Now, Tyler Duskin, he was on the mound and he was dealing. He had several strikeouts on the day, including 2 right here to get the Trojans out of a jam. They're still up 1-0 as the people in the crowd are going crazy, knowing that they're very close to a state championship. Bottom of the 7th now. Trojans need one more out. Helena's Colton Hood pops one up in the right field. Jordan Beck makes the catch, and Hazel Green wins the game and claims the Class 6A baseball state championship, the first state baseball championship in school history.
Great battle. I was proud of my guys that they always find a way to win big games, and they close it the way we know how with nail biters and Tyler Duskin making big pitches.
It's something that we've talked about for a long time. You know, guy sports in our school don't ever really win anything. It's a girl-led high school, so to be able to be the first male sport in a long time that's won a state championship, it's a great feeling.
All right, let's check out some other state championship action. Lauderdale County dug themselves into a hole after falling in Game 1 to Mobile Christian. In Game 2, the Tigers needed to win it to force Game 3. The Leopards looking for the sweep. Mobile Christian starting off strong, already up 1-0 in the first. Luke Jones hits a sac fly in the deep right field. Ethan Hearn, his teammate, will tag up and score. That puts the Leopards up 2-0. Still in the first now, Chance Vaught will hit a chopper. The Tigers commit a fielding error and throw it away near first. Trent Avery and JT Lastorka will both score, and the Leopards on top 4-0 after the first inning. Let's go to the third inning. It's 7-0 Leopards as the Lauderdale County Tigers are down. Wild pitch right here, and Jeff Griffin is at bat. Trent Avery will make his way to score. That makes it 8-0. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th now. Lauderdale County hanging on for dear life. Tanner Bays, he's at third base, but watch what happens. He is caught off guard and he is thrown out, and that'll be your ball game. Mobile Christian shuts out Lauderdale County 11-0 in 5 innings. Lauderdale County finishes as the Class 3A state runner-ups.
And over in Class 2A, an 11th inning walk-off single was the final blow in Game 1 of the championship for Mars Hill. The Panthers needed to win Game 2 of the title series to force a Game 3 with G.W. Long. We're going to start in the second inning. Kason Long hits the ball in the shallow left. Cam Faria scores with ease, and the Rebels strike first, 1-0 Long. Bottom of the third now. Panthers are down 4-2, trying to claw their way back into this one, and Dylan Register, he walks Peyton Higgins with the bases loaded. That brings in Colton Smith, and the Panthers cut the Rebels' lead to 1. In the 6th, Mars Hill trailing 10-3. Colton Smith rips the ball down the left field line. Higgins would come in all the way from second to score to make this a 10-4 ball game. We're going to go to the bottom of the 7th now. Panthers down to their final out. Carson Dunlap, he's going to get Kyler Merckx looking, and Mars Hill would fall in Game 2 11-4, meaning G.W. Long wins the Class 2A state championship. Mars Hill finishes as the runner-up. And over now to 5A, the reigning back-to-back state champions Russellville trying to avoid the sweep. to Faith Academy in Game 2. The score was tied at 1 up until the third. Braxton Bell is up at the plate and he hits a grounder. Russellville can't field the ball correctly. That allows Bryant Andrews to score. Rams regain the lead 2-1. Same score, top of the fifth. John Griffin Bell rips it into the left field. That's going to bring in Reese Ewing in the score.
That's out of his reach.
Right, 3-1 Rams. Russellville really gets into trouble in the sixth when the Rams have the bases loaded. Chris Sargent, he's going to find an open gap in the right field, and that will result in a bases clearing triple for Faith Academy, 7-1. And the Golden Tigers, they just weren't able to make a comeback. So Faith Academy ends Russellville's 3-year reign by defeating them 7-3 in Game 2 to sweep the series.
We're just excited to be back here. We're disappointed, of course, to lose, but I'm extremely proud of all these guys. I mean, I know that they're hurting right now, but man, I'd take every one of these guys. They can move in my house today if they needed to. They're just like my kids, and I love them, and they know that, and it hurts me for them. I feel like I've let them down, and that's the part that hurts.
And Mo, I have to say that I'm not going to lie, I was a little hurt about that loss. I mean, you have the 3-time reigning champion, like that.
They had
that hurts.
seniors on that team that never knew what losing a championship was. But one interesting thing about Coach Heap, he said that his younger guys, his 7th, his 8th, and his 9th graders will probably be the future of this program, and they'll probably get back to championship level.
I have no doubt about that.
All right, speaking of championships, we just didn't have baseball, we had softball. And also joining me down in Montgomery was Kayla Carlisle, and she joins us right now in the X Zone to talk about those championships on softball.
Well, Mo, the AHSAA softball championships did not disappoint us this week. Hartselle, Mars Hill, and Wilson all squared up for the state titles, but only one of them could come out on top.
Friday night, we kicked things off with Game 3 for the Wilson Warriors. They played North Jackson to see who would make it to the championship. The Warriors came to win, though, beating the Chiefs 11-5, letting Wilson move on to the 4A championships against Hale County. Game 4 began shortly after Game 3 for the Warriors, but that didn't slow these girls down. The two teams played neck and neck the entire game. Presley Horton with a huge hit that edged her team ahead, and that long day just seemed to get longer as the Warriors took down the Wildcats 10-7 and move on to Game 5. The lights are on now and the sun is finally down. The Warriors and Wildcats face each other in a final showdown. Who is ultimately going to take the title? Well, unfortunately, 5 games in a row wore on the Warriors. They lost some steam and they were run ruled 13-2.
When we got off the bus this morning, that's what I told my kids, that the only thing that would disappoint me is if they quit playing. I said, just play as hard as you can, play as long as we can. We're a good ball team. We're going to be playing some good teams and go out there and have fun and do what you know to do.
So 1 team out, 2 left. Mars Hill is taking on GW Long in the 2A championships. The Panthers started off with momentum, leading the Rebels 7-1. That is until GW Long makes the comeback with 11 unanswered runs, beating the Panthers 13-7. Which then brings us to your 6A state champions, the Hartselle Lady Tigers. They beat Saraland in the bottom of the 8th, 6-5, and crowned outfielder Kylie Winton the MVP.
Now, Kylie, along with her teammates Mackenzie Jackson, Callie Carty, and Morgan Sparkman, were all named to the all-tournament team as well. And I have a feeling those Tigers will be celebrating that win for a while. Mo, what do you have for us next?
Coming up next on WZDX Sports Xtra, we've got the state champions from Class 6A. The Hazel Green Trojans, Coach Perez and company, are in the building to talk about that great championship run. They're coming up next with me right here on WZDX Sports Xtra.
When you don't give us the recognition that I know we deserve, we take that personal.
One of the storylines that nobody saw coming is happening at Hazel Green.
We've always been underdog. We've always had a chip on our shoulder the whole season. We've always had to prove to people that we were better.
Hazel Green wins Game 3 1-0 and claims the Class 6A baseball championship for the first time in school history.
They always find a way to win big games, and they close it the way we know how.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Sunday sit down, and joining us are the champions of Class 6A, the Hazel Green Trojans. We're joined by Tyler Duskin, Coach Frankie Perez, and Isaiah Magwood. Guys, how you feeling and how's it going tonight?
Well, we're very excited to be here. Finally, we brought the trophy back home, so we are very excited. Tyre, we're telling her that we haven't slept in 2 days, but I take it. We are state champions, so it feels great, and I'm proud to have these 2 young men here with me.
So basically, the lack of sleep is worth it for for the championship at the end?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will take this every year. I will sleep for a week. I don't care. I want one of those every year. So yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how big this was, not just for the school, but the community of Hazel Green.
The last time the school won a state championship for the boys side was 1965 or in the 60s. So the fact that we brought it home is great. I've gotten a lot of text messages from people from around town, and they said that they enjoy every bit of our journey that has gotten everybody back together. I got text messages from guys that are class of 1990s and early 80s that came to the game in Montgomery, and they brought their kids. So it's been a fantastic journey. It's been magical and ended with best way possible. You know, game 3 in the state championship, we won 1-0, and we were able to bring the trophy home. So we very, very excited.
Now, Tyler, you were the Class 6A state championship MVP. How did it feel not only to win the championship, but also to get that MVP and bring the trophy back home, especially after all those years of boys getting a championship at the school?
It's pretty crazy. You know, 2 years ago, we had a losing record, and to come here my senior year with a new coach and be able to be the state champion, I actually get the MVP. It's pretty crazy. It's a great feeling.
Now, Isaiah, I know you've been a part of the program for a while and stuff, and one thing that was great about this run was the teams that you beat coming to the championship. I mean, Helena was the defending state champion. You played Coleman, I mean, a perennial power all year. Man, where did all the greatness come from in this team to, like, overcome all those odds?
Oh, we overcame all the odds because we played together as one, as a family. We played together. We all believed in each other. We all knew we could do it. We all knew if we played as a unit, we could beat anybody we wanted to beat.
Coach Perez, this is your first year as a head coach, and usually when a head coach comes in for the first year, it takes a while for them to build, but you came in, the team never been to the playoffs over the past 4 years, and you come in, not only go to the playoffs, but you win the championship. Yeah. Is this something that you thought possible when you started?
Actually, yes. We talked about it on the way here I think we were eating lunch, and we all started talking, the coaches included, the coaches that were here last year. They said, you know, that when I first met with these boys, I told them, I said, listen, I'm going to coach you harder than you ever been coached before. I'm going to love you harder than you ever been loved before. But the thing about it is, it's going to be worth it when we dogpile in Montgomery. And someone looked at me like I was crazy. But I truly believe it because I heard the talent that we have had here. And it really sunk in when we had the first practice. Our first practice, and I saw the pieces that we had. Because see, I've been there before, 4 years ago with Thompson High School, and I knew the team that we had that took us there. And I figured, I think we have better pieces here that can take us there. So I keep telling them, listen, you got to believe in yourselves. Just like Max said, we got to play as one.
Nobody has ever really coached me the way that he has. I don't think I've ever been yelled at more than I have by this guy. But at the end, it's definitely, you can see it's worth it. Every bit of it was worth it. All the adversity he put us through helped us face every competition that we faced all year, and ultimately it led us to the top.
I wanted to talk to you about your beard. I see you. Yes, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Well, part of it. One of the things was in November, I always do No Shave November, right?
Correct.
To kind of let the kids grow their beard. Well, they said, Coach, why don't you just don't shave it all the way until we win it all? So I'm like, hey, as a coach, you're going to do whatever it takes to get these guys going. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Well, we kept winning, and we kept winning, and we kept growing, and we kept growing, and kept growing. So as soon as we won it on Friday, yes. Was it Friday? Yes, on Friday.
On Friday, yes.
I got home last night. This morning, I got a call from my mom. She goes, hey, son, I'm proud of you, but shave the beard. So I actually did it live with her. I was like,
okay.
I was FaceTiming her, and I was like, here it is, mother. I'm shaving it, you know. So it's part gone. I still want to grow a little bit here, but yeah, I mean, I should have to look like a decent adult now. I have to shave it.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, we totally understand that, and we're very excited about you being the only Tennessee Valley team to bring home a championship.
Right,
so congratulations to you guys. The Hazel Green Trojans in the building. Coach Perez and company, they brought home the blue map to the Tennessee Valley. We've got more WZDX Sports Extra. We'll return after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Fans of the SEC are dealing with a heavy heart this week after a true visionary passed away following a lengthy illness. Former SEC Commissioner Mike Slive lost his battle with prostate cancer. Now, of course, Mike Slive was a true visionary. Under his watch, the SEC won 7 consecutive BCS titles from 2006 to 2012. He also expanded the SEC's footprint by adding new members like Missouri and Texas A&M, with expansion in 2012. Slive was responsible for making the SEC the richest conference in the land because he launched the SEC Network. Now, we did catch up with current SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey this week to talk about the passing of Mr. Slive.
He was the best thinker I've been around. And I've been around a lot of knowledgeable, wise people, but Mike was a great decision maker and was slow on issues when you needed to be slow, and patient, was quick when you needed to be quick, and was just an incredibly wise and knowledgeable person.
Commissioner Sankey was one of hundreds who attended Mike Slive's memorial service in Birmingham this past Friday. The attendants included Eli Gold, Nick Saban, and Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne, former Auburn coach Pat Dye, and AD, and also Paul Feinbaum of the SEC Network were in attendance. Mike Slive was 77 years old. This week, Alabama and USC agreeing to play one another in the Advocare Classic at AT&T Stadium once again. Now, you may recall in 2016, the Alabama Crimson Tide routed USC 52-6 in what was Jalen Hurts' coming out party. He accounted for 3 touchdowns after stepping in for Blake Barnett. Now, there was a rumor that Alabama could use a 2-quarterback system with Hurts and Tua this upcoming year, but Nick Saban doesn't think so.
You know, we got 2 guys competing at the position. I'm not going to speculate on things that may or may not happen. We have a lot of choices and decisions and things that we have to make. So we're not going to really answer questions that are hypothetical in nature, which you seem to love to ask.
Now, both quarterbacks returned home for a short break. Tua Tagovailoa has returned home to his home state of Hawaii and was honored by his hometown. A victory parade was held for him and received numerous awards for his role in the national championship game.
A lot of major changes are happening right now in our own backyard at Alabama A&M. This week, they announced Dylan Howard as the new men's head basketball coach, and this came only a few days after Donnie Marsh resigned.
It was a personal decision between him and his family to move on.
Coach Howard spent the last year under former head coach Donnie Marsh. On Thursday, the school announced that Howard will be taking the reins for the 2018-2019 season.
I like to play fast. You know, one of my mottos is fast and faster. So we're going to be getting up and down. We're going to be shooting a lot of threes. We're going to be pressing.
With major changes happening, recruiting could easily become an issue. But because Howard has played such an integral part in that process, he doesn't see it posing any problems.
He signed a big man early from East Florida, Shaquille Seville, and he's going to help us immediately. And recruiting is ongoing. We still have probably 1 or 2 scholarships that we have to offer.
Last year, the Bulldogs were 3-27 on the season, but Coach Howard says the past is the past, and he's ready to show the fans a new side of Bulldog basketball.
The good thing is we have a lot of returning players, and toward the end of the season, we started seeing some momentum.
And one thing that really stuck with me when speaking to Coach Howard was he was talking a lot about how they're going to be going out to the community, going to the community events and stuff. So I'm sure the fans they're going to be excited about that.
Oh, that's definitely something they should be excited about too. But let's go ahead and switch gears now to college softball. The Division I college regionals, we have 2 Alabama teams facing off. And man, it was a big day for Jacksonville State yesterday. We're taking it to the Tallahassee Regional, a huge elimination game. Number 17 Auburn versus Jacksonville State. Let's get right into it. Top of the 6th, Alyssa Rivera for the Tigers smacks that one over the left field wall for a solo shot, putting Auburn up 2-1. Bottom of the 6th now, runners on the corners for the Gamecocks with no outs and fresh off the mound. Alexis Jimerson at the plate. She hits it to left center. It rolls to the wall. Taylor Brashears makes it home. Anna Chisholm trying to get there, and she would. That starting pitcher. Oh, that's a 2 RBI double for the starting pitcher, and that would be exactly what JSU needed. They would win 3-2 over Auburn, ending the Tigers' season. So with that win, now Jacksonville State moved on to play Florida State for a chance to advance to the Super Regionals, but it was a blowout. They lost to the Seminoles 10-0, bringing the Gamecock season to an end.
Some better news for Bama fans, though. Today, the Crimson Tide won their regional, making them the only school in the super regional era to win every single year. This year, they beat Middle Tennessee State, Wisconsin, and Oregon State to advance to the super regionals, where they will be facing off against Washington. And in Division II, we only had one hometown team left, UAH, but they sadly fell in Game 3 to St. Leo 6-3, meaning their season has come to an end, but nevertheless, a great season for them.
And we still have a lot more to come on Sports Extra. When we return, the NASCAR All-Stars hit the track in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll have those highlights along with our best of the week. Stay with us.
The NASCAR All-Star race in Charlotte, North Carolina, taking place last night. Kevin Harvick, who started the night in fourth position, then took the first and third stage checkered flags. He lost positions after a long, late race pit stop, but managed to work his way up and overlook Daniel Suarez on the final lap of the race to secure the overtime victory and the $1 million prize. I tell you, the Harvicks have been on a roll this year.
Yeah, and you guys know what time it is. It's time for our best of the week, so let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Jump into it.
Yeah, all right, so I'm going first. We're going to start in the 7th inning of the Diamondbacks-Mets game, and he pulls one out on the ground foul. But look at this amazing play. This is the ball boy. This isn't even an MLB player. He's the ball boy. That's some dedication. He bangs his face on the side of that, but I mean,
Look at that
you
smile.
can't, like, he's like, yeah, I did that.
He's got a future.
Well, moving on, it's the third round of the AT&T Byron Nelson 15th hole. Rookie Aaron Wise tees off with a shot, and it's going to make its way near the gallery. And watch this one. One of the women in the gallery is going to put her foot on the ball, and she's going to put a stop to it. That's not what you guys do when you're at a golf tournament, let me just tell you. But quickly, you see how she messed up, and she realizes it, and she quickly recovers.
You messed up, young lady. And finally, let's take you out to the 143rd running of the Preakness, where the weather was just horrible. But Justify was not letting the weather spoil the day. Justify would win the race coming down the stretch. But let me give a shout out to the camera person who was able to defy the weather and get this great shot right here. Us three as sports, we know how difficult this is.
Yes.
That'll do it for WZDX Sports Extra. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week.